Hello YouTube, the Gun Nut here. It's another great day to be an American. Let freedom reign. So today we're going to take a look at some results that I recently achieved shooting 142 grain Sierra Match King hollow point bow tail bullets with Reloader 16 powder in my Savage Model 10 Predator Hunter. These loads were loaded in once fired Peterson brass and using Winchester large rifle primers, so it's large primer brass. The load levels we shot were 41 up to 42.5 grains in half grain increments. So let's go ahead and take a look at the results. So at the first load level, at 41 grains, we had four shots going to 0.60 inches. So a pretty good start. Looking at the chronograph data, the results were not as good, but not horrible. We had an average velocity of 2704, an extreme spread of 47.09. We had a standard deviation of 19.92. Moving on up to 41.5 grains, we had four shots going to 0.78 inches. This is actually two in the same hole, or basically the same hole. You can see slightly enlarged. At 41.5 grains, we had an average velocity of 2718, extreme spread of 2436, and a standard deviation of 10.86. So our extreme spread and standard deviation tightened up at the 41.5 grain load level, and our velocity went up about 14 feet per second. So it was not a huge jump up in velocity. Then at this point, something interesting happened. I had four shots going to 1.01 inches, and three of them went into 0.52. And the one shot that went out and opened up the group was actually quite low in velocity, at least as read on the chronograph. So at 42 grains, I don't know if this was actually a misreading in the chronograph. I did have a couple other issues with the chronia that day, or if something weird happened in the loading process and I didn't get enough powder in there. But that was also the shot that correlated with it being to the right there and opening up that group, which hugely brought down our average velocity, and our extreme spread was enormous, and our standard deviation, as you guys can see, at 72.46. I think that's the worst standard deviation I've ever recorded on a chronograph. So I don't really trust that number, but if you do, then I think it's a loading process issue and not a poor performance of the powder and bullet, especially with the results we saw at 41 and 41.5 grains. And then moving on up to 42.5 grains, we had four shots going to 1.35 inches. So it definitely opened up at that point. But our chronograph's results came back better. We had an average velocity of 27.77, extreme spread of 30.08, and a standard deviation of 14.21. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the brass bolt, or the force required to open the bolt, I should say. It was quite high at... Actually, I think it started even at the first load level, but definitely by the time I got to the last two, it was higher than I liked. Although I don't really see, maybe some light marks on the brass there. But over here at the left was the 41 grain level, and then as we go across to the right, there is the 42.5 grain level. Maybe as I look at it, I'm seeing a little bit of indentations on the brass, especially at the highest load level. And it wasn't that accurate anyways. I would definitely probably pick one of these two first load levels to maybe play around with a little bit more, see if that accuracy maintains, and maybe try a couple smaller increments of the charge level. And I should mention that all accuracy testing was done at 100 yards. And our conditions on this past weekend was 70 degrees Fahrenheit, cloudy, and 0 to 5 mile per hour winds. So pretty good conditions for shooting, and I can't make any excuses. The results are what they are. I think something weird was going on there at that 42 grain load level, and 42.5 it just doesn't seem to like. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and you guys be safe out there.